Hi guys, welcome to Rule of Two, where the Star Wars news saga continues. I'm Terrence.
I'm Manny.
And this week, which is a little bit surprising, we don't normally come to you back-to-back weeks, but because we finished off last week right before they released the Rogue One trailer 2 during the Olympics, I mean, we talked about it briefly. We got more news to talk to you guys about, but before we jump into the trailer, we got a little bit of sad news. So Kenny Baker, who had been playing R2-D2 since the original trilogy, unfortunately passed away recently. What was the day that he passed away on?
I think it was like a few days ago.
Yeah, it was a couple of days ago.
Yeah, a few days ago. That was my
you know, we didn't get a chance to get on the air to be able to talk to you guys about it, but you know, we're all mourning his passing. I mean, he's a staple of the Star Wars universe. You know, it's one of those things where even though you didn't get to really see him on screen, we all identified him as a little bit of a robot, but he made that particular character memorable. You know, he brought the character out of it, the personality to R2-D2, and to no longer have him in the Star Wars universe is going to be something that's going to be a hole within. I don't even know how they're going to address this in Star Wars Episode 8.
Well, you know what he did. I mean, not only was he you know, brought this iconic character to the screen, what he did for little people, as far as you know, showcasing them and their talents and everything, you know, it was just he broke down barriers himself. So you know, working on movies like Time Bandits, and I believe he might have even worked with people in Under the Rainbow with Chevy Chase back in the day. Do you remember that movie?
I don't even remember that.
Yeah. So I mean, that's he's done a lot of stuff. And you know, Warwick Davis, who plays he played Wicket in and Return of the Jedi, you know, he came out and also said the same thing about how he did all this helping out all these people, all these little people that were you know, trying to break into the business. So yeah, he's going to be sadly missed no matter what. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now on to a little bit of lighter news. Like I said, there was a Rogue One trailer that came out recently for the Olympics. And this is actually the second trailer that we got to see for Rogue One. This one reveals a little bit more about the story. And if you were one of the few that actually made it overseas to go to Star Wars Celebration and got to see the behind the scenes trailer that they didn't show during their streaming broadcast of Star Wars Celebration, you got to see a little bit more footage than we got to see in the little reel trailer that they gave, the real footage that they showed us. So that particular footage they added to this particular trailer as well as more story. So before we get into the details of it, overall, how did you feel about this trailer?
Well, when we were talking about it the last time, you were you know, questioning whether or not it was going to be the long trailer, if it was going to be a story trailer, and it pretty much gave you a little bit of insight on the story, but not too much. No, and it was a 2-minute trailer. It was 2 minutes, so it was a minute over than what we thought. We thought it was going to be a 1-minute trailer. Right. So it was you know, about a minute more. And the footage that it gave us was actually showed us a lot more scenes as far as the battles and all that good stuff. So in that regard, I freaking loved it. I thought the cinematography is going to be great in this movie, and you know, Donnie Yen, man. I just can't wait to see Donnie Yen in there. Is he blind?
Yes, he is blind.
Okay.
All is as the Force wills it.
Because they did confirm that he's blind. So I mean, he doesn't have a sword, so he's not the blind swordsman. He's the blind bow staffman. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing in Star Wars. The Force will help you.
But seeing Vader at the end, I mean, it was a real quick shot. You get to hear the breathing. You get to see the back of his helmet. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, that part was great.
Okay, so like you said, Vader was one of the biggest things that everybody was waiting to see in the Rogue One trailer. I can't talk today. The Rogue One trailer. But outside of that, because obviously we've been all excited about that. Some other things that I was able to pick out of the trailer that I was a little bit excited about. We're gonna go over a little bit. So you mentioned Donnie Yen in this trailer, and it's very brief because we talked about it last week about kyber crystals being on on
Jedha.
On Jedha, because it was mentioned before in the Legends book, or not even the Legends book, because it was even mentioned in Star Wars Clone Wars. We actually get to see Donnie Yen's character with his staff, and on the end of it, looks like there's a crystal. So could that be a kyber crystal on the end of his staff?
What color was it? Do you remember?
It was actually kind of a light bluish.
Could it be? Well, no, it can't be his. Never mind, forget it. Never mind.
or could he be like Gandalf? And that's I mean, it's a stab. You know, he's old.
Well, he's not old, but
I mean, he's not
young.
Other things that I noticed in this trailer is how strong they make Jen Erso's character.
Oh, yeah, big time.
She's definitely, even though
Is she a Force user?
that we don't really know, and which. Do you really want to see a Force user in because they really? I mean, obviously we know Donnie Yen's character is
I was about to say, I think
somehow
Donnie Yen is a
related
Force
to the Force, but do we really want to see somebody outright using the Force?
I think that it would actually. I think it would kind of put some damage a little to her character if she is Force sensitive. I don't know. Maybe it would be all right. You know, but to have another one. But I just don't think, depending on her place in canon, it depends what her place is. If she's tied to Rey, or if she's tied to Luke, or if she's tied to, then that would make sense, and I could probably buy it. If not, then yeah, no, I don't really think. I think the only Force user that you really need to have in here is Vader and potentially Donnie Yen, maybe.
Okay. So my takeaway with her, and like I said, how strong her character comes across, at least in this trailer, because before they kind of put her off as like, you know, she's rebellious, you know, she was, you know, incarcerated for something, and they broke her out because they needed her to do this particular thing. This, she almost comes across as a leader. She almost comes across to me like a Leia character.
Did she join the Suicide Squad?
It's a running joke. A running joke from another show.
I'm sorry.
Because remember, this is the number one Star Wars show.
Potentially, but at the same time, you got to remember that, you know, if she is part of the group that is getting these plans, and you saw Jimmy Smits. Jimmy Smits is tied to Leia.
I didn't say she was Leia, but like
No,
she
I'm
comes
saying,
across as a strong female character as Leia does.
Do you think they rub shoulders there? You think they rub elbows there?
Could she be an inspiration for Leia?
Possibly. I mean, we don't even know where Leia stands as far as is she already that, you know, feisty one that, you know, or does she turn this way, or whatever, you know? Does Jen Erso play a part in that? Does Jen Erso have any kind of relationship with her where she's, you know, part of the getting the plans and what to do with the plans once you get them and that kind of thing? So I mean, it can play out so many different ways.
Okay,
definitely.
All right. So other things that I noticed in this movie is, like you mentioned before, the war scenes. Number 2,
the TIE fighter scene when the TIE fighter's coming up.
When it comes up,
man, that scene was awesome.
Is that when she hands off the plans? Is that like a final scene for her?
Who's in it?
Who's in the TIE fighter?
Who's in the TIE fighter?
That's who's in the TIE fighter. But just the battle scenes we got to see on the beach, on Jeddah, just it's so intense. And it's funny because they said that the original cut of this film they felt was too dark, and then they did some reshoots to kind of lighten it up a little bit so that way it fit more of the tone of the Star Wars films that they already set in motion. But it still feels like this is a serious film.
Well, you look at Gareth Edwards, who just did Godzilla not too long ago, and that movie really didn't have too much humor in it.
He's gonna hide Darth Vader from us the whole movie. Yeah. He's gonna show us glimpses of him, and then he's gonna
open the door, show him, and it's gonna close again, and the scene's gonna cut fade to black. You know, but you look at that tone that Godzilla had, it was not as, you know, it wasn't very humorous. You know.
No, I mean it was serious.
Yeah, it was kind of serious. You know, so if he goes that route with this one, then yeah, I think it is going to be a little bit more serious, more intense. But look at the nature of the movie itself. I mean, this is the movie that is pretty much responsible for the blowing up of the Death Star.
Right.
So you know, it's going to be really serious on the Empire side to make sure that those plans are protected and so forth. So yeah, it's going to be serious in tone. No. You know, you're right though. I think Diego Luna might be the one to have that. To have that comic relief. I think the new droid will also have some comic relief in there. He plays off a little C-3PO, so maybe. I
almost thought that we were getting with those two together. I thought, even though he is a droid, I thought this was kind of like a Han Solo, you know, Chewbacca relationship type deal.
Oh yeah, maybe.
It really kind of comes off to me, at least in this trailer, it does. But one thing I wanted to talk about with this particular trailer, knowing where it stands in the universe or in the trilogies that have already been set up, who do we think is going to make it out of this movie? I mean, obviously we know Vader's going to make it out. Mm-hmm. We obviously know Mon Mothma's going to make it out because she makes it to because she makes it to Empire, or she makes it to Jedi. She makes it to Jedi, and that doesn't really leave a lot of room because we don't see these characters in future films, or they're not referenced in future films. Do we think any of these characters are actually going to make it out of this movie?
If you're looking at it from a standpoint of the original trilogy, potentially, they don't make it.
Do you think we'd see them all die in this movie?
But if you see them in 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, or in the future installment, that's a different story.
We have to age them up then.
They're old as hell, yes, I know that, but I'm saying that it's a potential.
Okay.
Who knows? The droid might even show up. I mean, the droids don't age, so the droids might show up.
The droids might show up.
You know, show up later. So you never really can tell with that. But going by what you're saying, though, they might be still alive during the original trilogy. They might just be somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Or they might just bite it.
Very true.
Like Donnie.
Very true. So that would actually make this a Suicide Squad. All right. So that's all I really want to talk about with Rogue One. There was like I said, a lot of the footage we had seen before. They did add some new things in there. They did add some stuff with Vader. And like I said, some of the story that we got from it was really interesting. But to move on a little bit, another big thing that we just recently learned, or I guess it's kind of a rumor-ish, there's no confirmation on it as of yet, but we did hear that Donnie Glover's in talks with Lucasfilm in order to star as Lando in the Han Solo film. Can you say that together? The Han Solo film.
Just Han Solo film.
The Han Solo film.
Han Solo film.
Do you think Donnie Glover would make a good Han Solo would make a good Lando?
No.
No.
Oh, it's Donald. It's Don Glover.
Donald.
What did I say?
It's Donald Glover.
Donnie.
Donnie Glover is what I call him because that's how cool me and him are.
Would it be Danny Glover?
He'd be Danny Glover. He'd be Danny Glover. Reincarnated. Younger.
Donald Glover.
Would he be Dan Glover? If he was Danny Glover?
He wouldn't be that. All right.
Donald Glover.
All right, Donald Glover.
The #1 Star Wars show on YouTube. You know what? To be honest with you, I've heard Donald Glover's comedy.
Does he come off smooth?
No, not at all. He does not. He does not. No, but he's done a lot of audio. He's done a lot of audio stuff, and he does not come across as a Billy D. Williams type.
Even in his rapping.
He's a better rapper, so.
He does not come across as Billy D. Williams.
You can't see him rocking the perm.
No.
In the thick.
Ciao Bella, all that.
Yeah.
No way.
Chaps. All right, he was really good.
Hello, what have we here? No way. I don't see him.
Do you think that if they do actually cast him, do you think he'll just be doing an impersonation of Billy D?
That is the only way he can get through. But if he does that, it's not authentic, and people are going to be against him. On top of that, they've already tapped him to be in Spider-Man: Homecoming, and he's supposed to. Whether or not he's Miles Morales, who knows? But
Disney has a great relationship with Tony.
Well,
now they do.
It doesn't. But the point I'm making is that I just don't see him getting this type of role and running away with it. I just don't see it. I think the guy is great, very talented, extremely talented. This is just not the role for him.
Okay, now that you're on record as hating Donald Glover.
I just said I don't hate him. I just said I like Donald Glover. I like Donald Glover.
Who do you think? Because obviously that this rumor's out there is because they're actually looking to make this happen in the Han Solo film.
Han Solo film. Just Han Solo.
We're gonna get Lando in this film. Who would you think would be a good person?
Honestly, that's a tough one, man. I mean,
Billy D.
Williams is that's an icon there. You can't. I mean, that's Lady Sings the Blues.
Smooth and that's mellow and
Jamie Foxx.
No,
he's too old.
No,
this has got to be a young. This has got to be a young guy.
Well, Michael B. Jordan.
No.
Oh, no, I kind of like that actually.
I like he can rock the mustache. He can rock the.
The guy that was in Get On Up.
That's Black Panther. That's Chadwick Boseman.
I know, yeah. Put him in there.
He's gonna be doing Black Panther. He can't be filming that right now.
I'm on your side with that one. Chadwick Boseman.
No, he's already. No, he can't.
It's Chadwick Boseman. He already rocked the perm.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
He just needs a mustache. He's one step there. He's just gotta go away.
All right, so There was something else that we were talking about earlier.
Well, real quick, let's chat with both of them.
We're not ready to get out the chat with both.
No, he played Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
And he did a James Brown impression to play James
Now
Brown.
he's gonna be Billy D.
Now he's gonna be Billy D. Plus Black Panther. No. You're an awesome actor. I freaking think you're gonna win an Oscar one day, but no.
You made me forget what I was gonna say.
Yeah, you know what I like too is Corey Hawkins, the one that played Dre. He'd be cool. I think he could rock it. Really? He's got the slanty eyes.
His head's too big.
His eyes are kind of small, just like Billy D. Williams.
We're measuring eyes.
Yeah, I gotta look at everything.
His head's too long.
His head's too Moon Man.
There you go. All right.
Hey, I was on your side, Corey. Sorry.
Okay. So now that we kind of came up with our castings for Lando, there has been. I came up with my casting, and you hate Donald Glover.
I don't hate Donald Glover. I like Donald Glover.
Well, there's also been some talks that Steven Spielberg, not Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg, the #1 Star Wars show on YouTube. George Lucas
George Lucas
had 50 scripts.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
TV shows.
Stuff that he had been working on as far as
Before he was actually working on these before Disney acquired Lucasfilm. So he had all these scripts ready for TV shows. So there is talk of potentially having Star Wars come in and come in and be on TV, have some Star Wars TV shows. Now this is work for Clone Wars. This is work for Rebels.
Right.
How much?
But they're all
more,
animated.
They're all animated, yes, but they're still canon.
Right.
So let me ask you this. Now we were without Star Wars since 2005,
Right.
when Episode 3. Before that, in Episode 1, we were without it since '83. Now that we're back on track with Force Awakens and now Rogue One, do you think having too much Star Wars exposure is going to be a little like where we could burn it out? And I don't want to burn it out. So I don't think it's a good idea to have a TV show.
Okay, so you can look at it two different ways. There's definitely a case that they could burn it out, especially if we're staying in the same pocket that we've been in. Where, like I said, the Star Wars stories are still in the original trilogy pocket.
They're in canon,
Episode 7, 8, and 9 are trying to make their own waves, continuing on that original trilogy. So they have to step outside of what's going on here. We need to see what's on the other side of the universe. So if they do something that's outside of what's going on with this particular family, with Skywalkers, then it can work. They can do it with smugglers. They can do it with other alien races.
So if they do like Rogue One type spin-off stories,
but that's
Star
still
Wars
that's
stories
in the pocket of the original trilogy. It can't be in the original trilogy. It has to be totally
Just
different.
completely different.
Like they tried once before. It was funny.
The Ewok Christmas.
That they did that too. they tried, but let's say something with Maz Kanata and her more of Cantina style. What's going on with the Hutts?
Like Cheers?
What's going? Well, no. Let's see.
Jabba!
Because a big part of Star Wars are almost kind of like the underbelly of Star Wars, the underground that's going on. What's going on? Because we know the Imperial is the government, the rebellion are the people that that's trying to overthrow that government.
Right.
We don't need to see we don't need to see people with.
So we need to see like Dennis Leary from Demolition Man.
No, I was gonna say almost in a sense. I was gonna say we don't need to see with them day-to-day life or pouring blue milk and stuff like that. We don't need to see that, but we need to see the dirt stuff. Like I said, maybe the Hutt side, the bounty hunter side. If we get something like that, not to say it has to be Boba Fett, 'cause please don't do a Boba Fett movie, but if we get to see more bounty hunters, more what's going on.
But that would still be in that.
No, it doesn't have to be.
It would still
There's
be
bounty hunters throughout the galaxy.
It would be a branch of that.
No, they don't have to. They don't have to do Boba Fett though.
No, they don't have to do Boba Fett. But you got IG-88. You got the.
They don't even have to do any of them. They could just say other bounty hunters.
Okay. Just call it bounty hunters.
Just call it bounty hunters.
Dog the. Would dog be
Star Wars the bounty hunters?
Number one.
All right, so this is something that had been proposed for Netflix and
or ABC.
Or ABC, but I don't want to see it on ABC because I would like to see it on Netflix because it'll give them a little bit more of a window to do that range that Netflix does, where they say it's a TV 16. And not so.
Oh, again, so
ABC is going to keep it 13.
Right.
Like it's going to be 13 or below. Netflix can go a little bit harder. And if we do something like a bounty hunters thing, then they could be a little bit more violent. It could be a little bit darker. It doesn't have to be happy and fun and be on primetime TV.
A lot like Daredevil
and we could binge watch it. We don't have to wait all year, and then okay, it's 13 episodes, so you got 13 weeks going on, and you're gonna run into another Star Wars movie, and then you're really gonna feel overwhelmed. You're like, I just got through watching the TV show. Now it's another movie. I got to deal with the hype from that.
And that's the thing that I'm afraid of. But,
so let me binge watch it. I can watch it in a couple weeks, and then I can get my hype back up for the movie after I had a break away. So
what if instead of doing the TV show, they implement those stories into Rebels or
which they possibly can.
Clone Wars.
They definitely can, but those shows are intended for children, and I think a TV show would be intended for
man. Some of those.
No, some of them are really dark. If you watch some of the later episodes of Clone Wars, those episodes were really, really dark. But when you set it up as a cartoon, a lot of people can't get past that. Yeah. So you get an older audience. It's like, I don't really want to watch it because it's a cartoon. But you set it up as live action, then it brings in an older audience altogether.
Maybe. Okay. Maybe. The budget's going to be more, though. That's the hard part. That's the hard part.
Hey, look at the great things that they've done with all the Marvel stuff on Netflix. So,
yeah, true.
Okay. All right. So, that's going to take care of all of our news as far as this week. But, as always, we talk about fan theory. And normally, I set him up with...
Yeah, the way that you... let the viewers know. Let the viewers know this one, because you have 5 minutes. But I want to hear this because it was pretty interesting. Let us know what you think about it.
Okay, well, let's start with the easy one first. All right, so I got a couple of fan theories. And one of the fan theories that I had, or that I came across, it's not my fan theory, but one of the fan theories that I came across is that we all got to see one of those promotional images where we saw one of the stormtroopers carrying, or was it Death Troopers, carrying one of the stormtrooper dolls. So, we saw Rey with a doll, not that this relates to Rey, but we saw Rey in The Force Awakens with a little Rebel doll that she made herself and something like that she can sell on Etsy or something like that, or on Pinterest or wherever she wants to sell it. But do you think that the Rebels are looked at as the bad guys at this point in the universe? Or at this point in the timeline? Do you think that they're the bad guys? That there's actual action figures that people carry or people purchase or collect of stormtroopers out there, that they're looking at the Empire as the established government and the rebels are the bad people?
No, I don't really think that at all. I think it's just, especially with the amount of people that have been killed by Vader.
The galaxy doesn't know that, though.
Yeah, true.
The galaxy doesn't know that.
It could be it could just be anything. I mean, hell, we have Kylo Ren mugs. So you just can't tell there. I mean, it could be both. They could do. They could be making those themselves. I don't think the Empire's out there. Hey, get your Death Trooper dolls. Order today. I don't think they're doing that. So maybe they're making their own.
Okay, so and if it is the case that maybe the rest of the galaxy doesn't know, is this a turning point for them? Is this a time where everybody sees that this is not the right regime?
Potentially. Yeah, potentially they could. You never know.
Okay. All right.
I won't get into it because you got 5 minutes.
All right. So that's going to move us on to our very last fan theory. All right. Now this one's going to take a little bit of time, so it's going to take all the rest of the time that we have right now. All right. So
number one.
This is actually. How about we stop now? How about we stop when I take it off?
3 minutes. Go ahead.
No, it's not going to take 3 minutes. Okay, so that actually brings up our last fan theory. And this one's probably going to take a little bit longer because it's going to take some actual explanation. And it's funny because I had never heard this theory before, but it's been out there since about January, right after the Force Awakens had actually come out. So,
welcome to the #1 Star Wars show.
We're talking about Star Wars.
I know. Late. Since January.
Yes, and unfortunately, the #1 Star Wars show didn't catch on to this fan theory until now. But it's a great fan theory, which I'm actually surprised it didn't get bigger buzz when it actually came out. But when we look back at The Force Awakens, the helmet that Rey was not playing in, but she had on her helmet when she was on Jakku, there's actually script on the side that if you are a deep, hardcore Star Wars fan and you're able to translate the script that it has on the side, it actually spells out Rey, like R-A-E. Mm-hmm. So not Rey like R-E-Y, like Rey is. So the fan theory is, well, actually, let me reference back a little bit. So the Rey that it actually spells out is for a Dasmit Rey, which was actually a female fighter pilot in the Rebellion. So she has her helmet. Now the fan theory is that Rey's name is not really Rey, and that she actually gave it to herself to kind of honor the fighter pilot that she has a helmet for.
And if you see it when she's about to eat her portion and stuff, she also has the doll that you were talking about
Exactly.
earlier. She has that doll. So she's a fan.
She's a big fan of the Rebellion. So, you know, if she's been on this planet for quite some time, and, you know, she's come across this stuff that deals with the Rebellion, she could have taken this name as her own, not knowing what her real name is, because we all believe that she was force mind wiped. Do you believe that this is not her name? That Rey is not her name?
Well, now that you say that, that's some pretty strong evidence to say that potentially the secrecy behind Rey's true identity and the identity of her parents. I mean, they're taking it. That theory would take it to a completely another level.
Oh, I have another level,
which would make the reveal even that more intense. So, curious, what is the other level?
Okay, so kind of piggybacking off that existing fan theory. So the other level is when we look at Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren didn't like his name, or he felt like he was transitioning. He wasn't Ben Solo anymore. Changes his name to Kylo Ren. What if Kylo or Ben Solo is not really the legitimate child of Leia and Han? Maybe he was adopted. Maybe just like Leia and Luke, they were siblings but separated because of their powers. Leia and Han took one baby. Luke took another baby.
No, I don't buy that. I'm sorry.
Leia and Han realize how strong he is, and they know that he needs to be trained. They send him over to Luke.
When you see the interaction when Kylo Ren kills Han, and you see the interaction between Harrison Ford and Adam Driver,
right?
You just that just looks like a bloodline connection.
Or it could be.
I just don't buy that.
Or it could be that, you know, I've grown up with you. I mean, because he has all this animosity against Han. So we're like, he doesn't believe, like, you know, he was a great father.
He
to him.
left.
Yeah.
Han left.
Exactly. But
so I think a natural paternal father would get that kind of reaction more than a stepfather would.
I don't have any other children, and I've raised you if you were my son.
I don't know. That one's tough.
That would still hurt me. Even you're not my blood, you're still my son.
I don't know. That one's tough. That's a tough one.
So I was thinking about that. It was like, okay, so if they did this play on names, because they did this whole thing, why would he? They explained it a little bit. It was like, okay, because he's no longer a part of the light. He's a dark. He changed his name to, just like Vader changed his name, or just like Anakin changed his name to Vader.
He didn't change his name,
Palpatine, but his name was changed. Right. But like, so the universe sets up there was like, you become a different person, so we change your name to a different. We change your name to something different. So he changes his name to Kylo. You know, she becomes Rey, not knowing who she originally was. What if because, like I said, I don't want to believe in deadbeat Jedi with Luke.
But you want to believe in deadbeat smuggler pirate?
No, I would rather believe. I would rather believe
you
that
think it's easier to believe Han would do that than, or Han would lose like that.
No, not that point. It would be easier for me to believe that they weren't blood related. They weren't blood related to any of them.
They're blood related.
Yeah, but them themselves are blood related.
Yeah, but not to the other.
But not to the Skywalkers. No Skywalker, no Solo, outside of the name that they were given.
But for him to have that kind of, for him to be as strong with the Force as he is, and absolutely looking at Vader as his grandfather, that's a really tough one, because he never met Anakin. He never met.
Just like Leia thought.
I don't know.
Hey, look, Leia.
Just she thought that Bail Organa was
exactly,
the real father, but in reality, it was.
Did not know.
Did not know. Okay, that's interesting. I don't buy it, but it's interesting.
But then there's the only thing that kind of shoots it down is this whole thing with the fact that like the lightsaber went to her when she called for it and stuff like that, and the whole ties to make it seem like she was chosen for it. So it kind of shoots holes in it, but I thought it was a good fan theory.
As long as it's not the reincarnated Anakin Skywalker, I'm okay.
No, I don't
care what it is. Just don't let it be reincarnated Anakin, because I think that would be the dumbest thing. And if she's Plagueis, I don't want
Plagueis. I don't want reincarnating nothing. I would rather them not be related to them at all, and just figure out that how somehow their midichlorians made them super strong.
I remember hearing one theory, and it could be from our friend there, the Stupendous Way, who's freaking awesome. It could be like, I don't know if it was him or not, but I remember hearing something where the Darth Sidious. Mm-hmm. That was Palpatine, right? So Darth Sidious is like, kind of like creeping, and that's what he was doing. So then you got Darth Maul, who pretty much was like, aggressive and, mauling people, right? Then you get that, and then you get Darth Plagueis, who...
And Darth Savage.
But then you get Darth Plagueis, who plays kind of like what they said was that he plays like he's a host, he's a plague, he's a host, and he takes these he takes apprentices, he takes them, he infects them, he possesses them in a way.
Right.
So when people are getting, especially when it's the rule of two, when they're getting that, when they're doing that, when they have the apprentice and the master. He always takes the apprentice. That's why the apprentice usually kills the master, because he's the one that inhabits them all the time. So
he can't take the master because the master is already reaching a particular. He can't be an apprentice again.
He can do whatever he wants.
He can't be an apprentice again.
Why not? Well, anyway,
I just got promoted. You want me to take a step back? I just earned my spot.
From host, he needs a different host all the time. Is what I'm saying. So now he's latched on to Kylo Ren, or has he latched on to Rey? I mean, you just never know. Or is he latched on to Snoke? Who knows? I have no idea. Right. So there's just like so many things. I don't buy. I like it in theory as far as from the part that you said that they're related, but they're not.
But they're not related. They're not blood related to the Skywalkers.
But it's just. I mean, I can see where they can throw the story arc one way and actually do something with that, but. No, man. I'd rather them.
Like I said, the only thing that I have a problem with is that dang on lightsaber being drawn to her. That's the only thing in her visions. That's the only thing, and that's like I have a problem with it. But I like the fact that it would release us from the Skywalkers. We can move on from the Skywalkers.
I still like the double turn. I still like Kylo as a double agent. She's actually freaking the real bad guy. Kelly Marie Tran is the one that's is the real chosen one, or the real main hero.
And you have a problem with my theory. Your movie of the week theory. It's like you have a problem with my theory. That's my only thing.
I read between the lines, man. I'm listening to how Boyega's talking about Kelly Marie Tran, and I'm looking, and I
think it's just that she's going to be real important for his arc.
And then there was one with her fighting style. Her fighting style is very angry. She has an angry fighting style. She's maybe like a Sith. Maybe like
a child who's abandoned, maybe with a family that did kind of like Luke.
You gave me up, you bastard!
Like Luke was very angry in Empire.
Do you remember at Jedi when Luke is, if you won't join this, then perhaps your sister will, and he's he's lunging, and so in the Legends book, he turns to the dark side at one point. So there's a part to her that is very strong as far as the dark side. And when you see her fight Kylo, especially when the blades they're like together, and her eyes, and she closes her eyes, and then she starts lunging at him. I mean, that's just a Sith all day, man. That's what I'm thinking.
How come he didn't make her force faint at that point?
I know, right? Leave throwing the freaking thing.
I was like, hey, bye.
Because they needed to be sun and like tropical. The weather was better on Muskanon's planet than it was.
He needed that cool scarf for the girls. All right, so that's going to take care of our fan theories today. Make sure you let us know about any fan theories that you might actually have, which is funny because I just realized that we're actually being viewed in the UK. So if you're watching this internationally, we want to hear your fan theories as well, too, because we get caught up with what's going on here in the United States. Make sure you definitely put it down below in the comments so that way we can talk about it on our next show. So that's going to wrap us up for this week for the Rule of Two. We're going to go ahead and throw it to Manny so he can go ahead and send us home.
Like Terrence said, put all of your comments, your theories, or anything, any thoughts that you have. We've gotten a lot of compliments on it and on our shows, and we really appreciate that. We do it for you guys, so thank you very much for that. You can hit us up also. You can hit us up on Facebook at the Goods Podcast, Facebook.com/at the Goods Podcast, and you can catch that'd be Terrence, by the way. And for me, you can hit me up on Twitter at the Goods Podcast. So look forward to hearing from you guys, and may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Star Wars Saga news. Star Wars news saga.
Say what you say, whatever you want to say, because I always say the Star Wars news saga.
I guess it's a saga of the news.
Yeah, it's a saga of the news.
No, right. I'm going to be a saga by the time we get over.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Yes.
Tell me. Or cut me down. Tell me.
That's my actor.
Lasagna?
Lasagna.
Oh, did you eat my lasagna?
So the best